ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ 24/7. ಇದು ವಿಶ್ವಾಸದ ಪ್ರತಿಬಿಂಬ.
ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿಗಳೇ, ಉದ್ಯಮಿಗಳೇ, ಗ್ರಾಹಕರೇ ಹಾಗೂ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಪಾವತಿದಾರರೇ, ಆಗಿವೆಯಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳು ಕ್ರಾನಿಕ್? ಆಗಬೇಡಿ ಯಾವತ್ತು ಪ್ಯಾನಿಕ್. ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಕ್ಲಿನಿಕ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪರಿಣಿತರ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್. ನಾನು CA S.S.Nayak. ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದರ 277ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ವಿತ್ ಅಸ್ 2 ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್, ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಸ್, economic experts and what not, people with the name, fame and depth in union budget analysis. First of all, let me introduce our star player, superstar player in our business tonic, CA D B Mehta, economic expert. He is a BCom gold medal from Mumbai University, then LLB from Mumbai University. He has completed his chartered accountancy course at the young age of 21 years. Then he has completed cost accountancy also, ICWA. Then he has passed the most prestigious exam of our nation, IRS, and he has served for 10 years in Department of Indirect Taxes and resigned such a colorful and a very prestigious job after serving for 10 years as he resigned when he was a Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise and Service Tax. And he was Chairman of Credit Mangaluru. Then he was Vice Chairman of Karnataka Credit, and as he is very smart, he has been appointed as Independent Director of Mangalore Smart City Limited also. Many more laurels, awards, accolades and accomplishments and achievements are with him, but since he is appearing for several topics in our show, it may be with respect to economy, it may be with respect to budget, it may be with respect to taxation, it may be with respect to investment, it may be with respect to property matters. So he is well versed and all rounder in all economic sectors. So today we deem it our privilege to invite CA D B Mehta to our Union Budget 2024 show. CA D B Mehta, you are most welcome.
Thank you so much.
So we have another stalwart, tall personality in our CA profession, CA K Gururaja Acharya. He was born in Temple City of Udupi, brought up in Iron City, Ballari, and presently he is practicing in the knowledge city of Bengaluru. So he is a rank holder in both CA and ICWA. He has been the mentor and guru for many chartered accountants, and he has delivered his expert address in the field of auditing, taxation and MSME matters in ICAI and various other forums. So to add cherry to the cake, he has been appointed as the independent director of our family bank across India. Now it is Bharat Ka Karnataka Bank. So the board itself is very scholastic board. So he is the genius among the genius board members in Karnataka Bank, and he is also our star player whenever it comes on the matter of taxation, budget and MSME matters. He has appeared many times in our show. K Gururaja Acharya, you are most welcome to our this Business Tonic Union Budget 2024 show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before starting our topic for the week, so special events of the week, we have the tradition of discussing the same. 26th July, all of you know, 25th Kargil Vijay Divas. So Kargil Vijay Divas, in 1999 our soldiers, they won the war against Pakistan and we have celebrated Kargil Vijay Divas. Since then every year on 26th July we are celebrating Kargil Vijay Divas. We are paying tribute to those soldiers who have dedicated their life for the border protection of our nation. Let us bow our head to all our soldiers who have been continuously serving for our country, and let us salute those who have dedicated their life, and let us salute those who are protecting our borders continuously now also without any tension for all of us. So let us say this Kargil Vijay Divas is a victory against our enemy country Pakistan. अभी भी सुधर नहीं गया वो country. That is the very most sad part of it. But whatever it may be, see, in any nation, for the protection of the nation, or for the welfare of the nation, or for the development of the nation, leadership plays vital role. Now you see India and Pakistan got independence in the same year 1947. See the state of affairs of the Pakistan, see the state of affairs of India. So India is the fastest growing economy in the world, and we are fortunate to be Bharatiyas across the globe. ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ ನೋಡಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ಜಗವೆಲ್ಲ ಮಲಗಿರಲು ಅವನೊಬ್ಬ ಎದ್ದ, ಅವನೇ ಗೌತಮ ಬುದ್ಧ. So when all developed and developing economies across the globe registering a meager growth or negative growth with higher inflation, India is registering record growth. In financial year 23-24, it is a record growth of 8.2% GDP growth. We should really applaud. And this year, RBI has predicted before the presentation of the budget 7.2% GDP. But we have the tradition of, especially NDA government, making conservative estimates. So on conservative estimates, the growth rate projected is 6.5 to 7%. So with this small introduction, let me start budget discussion in detail. Budget, before budget gets presented in parliament, we have previous day economic survey presentation in Lok Sabha. D B Mehta, can you just brief about what is economic survey and what is the findings or highlights of this year's economic survey?
See, economic survey basically nothing but a white paper on the performance of the economy in the previous year and how it looks upon the growth aspect and various other economic parameters in the coming year. So It's basically nothing but a report on the performance of the Indian economy. The economic survey this year slightly departs from that, and that's the most important highlight of the economic survey. And how it departs? It highlights the pitfalls in the way the economy is moving. For example, it has pointed out that the private sector is not doing enough in several areas like R&D investment, capital investment, providing employment. So, like profits have grown by 300-400%, but the employment is not caught up with the same growth, and there is a huge unemployment with the educated youth. Now, whether they are employable or not employable, that's a different debate. But the fact remains that a huge percentage of educated youth are still unemployed. Then what needs to be done with China plus policy? Like how India can benefit with China plus one situation what we are into. How do we benefit from the global war scenario where it is there in Russia and Ukraine especially? How do we take the advantage of our economy, and so on and so forth. And if the government, it has pointed out, what government needs to do is to have more private sector liberalization, more reforms, and more growth oriented policies. So basically it's a summary of all the economic parameters, be it the CAD, that is current account deficit issue, be it the forex issue, be it the trade issue, be it the GDP issue, employment issue, agriculture issue. It's a summary of all things together.
Excellent. You have briefed about economic survey. K Gururaja Acharya, you can add something on economic survey.
No, I cannot. I mean, I can only say that the economy has been doing very well according to the economic survey report, and most importantly, the tax collections. The tax collections have been more than what has been budgeted. And particularly, ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ income tax ನಲ್ಲಿ there are two types. One is the tax paid by the corporates and the tax paid by the non-corporates. What is very interesting to note is the tax from the non-corporates. It could be from individuals or HUF or partnership firms or LLPs. So adu the share of that is increasing over a period of time. Corporate tax kintanu income tax collections are more than the corporates. ಈ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ I have the figure here. Totally 19.56 crores has been collected from income tax, and what is budgeted is about 22 lakh crores. 22 lakh crores from the income tax. In fact, out of the total 100%, 36% is coming out of Income Tax Act, and about 17% is coming from GST. 17% is projected to come from GST. So overall, whatever was budgeted, interestingly, 18,23,000 income tax ಇಂದ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದು ಆಕ್ಚುಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರುವಾಗ 19,56,000 crores to income tax in the bandide. So which shows that the economy is doing very well, and also it shows that the compliance levels of the taxpayers have gone up, probably voluntarily, but also by virtue of so many controls put by the government. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕಡೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಪೀಪಲ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೋ ದಟ್ ದ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನೋನ್ ಆಲ್ ದೇರ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತೊಂದು AIA ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಥವಾ PAS ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾವು ಫಾರ್ಮ್ 26A ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂದ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತಹ FDs ಅಥವಾ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ ವಾಚ್ಡ್, including the purchase and sale of properties. So minor details. How it is known is there is a mechanism where the bankers, registrar of properties, all of them have to inform this to the income tax department. So that is how the department is knowing all the information, and therefore the tax collection is going up because you are being watched.
Okay, let us start our union budget. Before this presenting the budget, what is the expectations of the people? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಒಂದು ಚುಟುಕು ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡುವ. ಬಜೆಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಬೆಟ್ಟದಷ್ಟು ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಿದೆ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಪಾವತಿದಾರರಿಗೆ ಉಡುಗೊರೆಗಳ ಆಸೆ ಆಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆ. ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ರವರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಸತತ 7ನೇ ಅಗ್ನಿ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ. ಬಜೆಟ್ ಆಗಲಿದೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ನೀಲ ನಕ್ಷೆ. ಭಾರತದ ಉತ್ತಮ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ದಾಖಲಿಸಿದೆ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಸಮೀಕ್ಷೆ. ಮಾಡಲಿದೆ ಸದನದಲ್ಲಿ ಆದಾಯ ಖರ್ಚಿನ ನಿಷ್ಕರ್ಷೆ. ಮಾಡೋಣ ಪ್ರಗತಿ ಪಥದತ್ತ ಭಾರತದ ಮಿಂಚಿನ ಓಟದ ಪ್ರತೀಕ್ಷೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಅಂದರೆ ದಿಸ್ people have lot of expectations in the budget, even a layman up to the corporates. Many people have many expectations. See, expectations and aspirations of all people cannot be fulfilled, but in this budget aspirations and expectations of many people have been fulfilled. What are the four major? Now there are many castes, many religions, many what we can say that panthas, pangadas in our nation. But in this budget they have classified caste, only 4 castes. Can you just brief about it?
See, coming to the expectation part, there's a very good saying. Ask not what nation can do for you, but tell what you can do for the nation.
Very nice.
So, for a developing country, all citizens should follow this dictum, because nation wants your contribution rather than you leeching upon the nation and natural resources. Now, coming to the 4 castes, the government has identified the 4 what you call categories of people who can become the driver of growth, who need support, and who can be the focus of all the economic policies. These 4 categories are: one is youth. Youth means skilling of youth, education of youth, employment of youth, and making human resource a part of the growth mechanism. The second factor is farmers. We all know that around 43-44% of our human resource is dependent on farming, but it contributes only 18 to 18.5% to the GDP. So, the focus will be how to increase farmers' income, how to increase the productivity, how to manage the MSPs, how to ensure that the transport of farm goods, the losses are prevented, and how to get better value for the farmers. Value addition, like food processing units and so on and so forth. The third focus area for the government is women. No country can develop and grow at 8, 9, 10% if women do not take part into the economic activity of the country. India culturally and traditionally has the women in our country who are either employed within the house or within their own farms or own small productive activities. But seeking employment outside, even now it's at the rate of only 18% of women are employed in the outside workforce. How to increase this 18% to 25%, 30% and so on and so forth. So, the whole policy is dependent, even this budget, the focus is women.
Okay.
3.2 lakh crores been provided for women and girls in this particular budget.
Okay.
The fourth aspect of the caste system is poor. We all know, whatever may be the definition
poor,
of
always say that there is always poor outlay for the poor in the budget.
Yeah, whatever may be definition of the poverty line, India still has a large number of poor people. So, first, how to uplift this poor, how to provide sanitation, water, housing for the poor, how to provide road connectivity to the poor, how to provide education and skilling and jobs to the poor, so that poor people can also join the economic mainstream. So, the entire focus is on this forecast.
That means you mean that is inclusive growth budget.
Absolutely. Social
Correct, no?
justice is paramount in this budget.
Okay, very nicely you have told. Now, regarding our tax structure, our Gururaja Acharya is a tax expert. So, they have done lot of rationalization of direct taxation in this budget, and they intend to do rationalization in indirect tax also they have mentioned, but they have not announced any such initiatives. See, what are all the initiatives with respect to direct tax for rationalization of the taxes? Can you just brief?
Yeah.
Only highlights,
like
then we will discuss in depth
Yeah.
afterwards.
No, I would like to put the major aspects of the taxation under three buckets. First one is the good news, the second one is the bad news, and the third one is the rationalization and simplification. Under the good news, there are about 12. I'll just list them out. One is interesting changes and beneficial changes have happened in the default new tax regime under section 115 BAC. And the second one is the angel tax under section 5627B. Whenever a company collects a share premium in excess of the fair market value, that used to be taxed in the case of a closely held company. So that has been abolished.
Angels were treated like devils earlier.
Levy has been
Earlier, angels were treated like devils.
Equalization levy of 2% has been abolished. Then the corporate tax for the foreign companies have been reduced from 40% to 35%. Then the reduction in the reassessment period from 10 years to 5 years. Then condonation of delay for registration of trusts. There is a requirement for the charitable trusts to be registered once in every 5 years. And in case they miss, the consequences are very severe. So they have now permitted condonation of the delay in registration of charitable trusts. Then they increased the maximum permissible remuneration under the partnership firms. Then the seventh one is, the eighth one is the Vivad Se Vishwas has been reintroduced, wherein in case your matter is in appeal, you can withdraw the appeal and pay only the taxes. Interest and penalty will be totally waived. And the ninth one is for the tax deductors, TDS Madorige, in case they have not paid, there used to be imprisonment even if there is a delay of 1 day. Now they said there will be, in case you don't pay the taxes within the quarter by which you have to file your TDS returns, then only the rigorous imprisonment will apply. Then non-disclosure of foreign assets in your income tax return. ಈಗ income tax return file ಮಾಡುವಂತಹ ಸಮಯ 31st July for non-audit cases ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ in case anybody has got foreign assets, it has to be disclosed in your income tax return. Otherwise, the penalty, your foreign asset could be as low as 6 lakh rupees. ಒಂದು ESOP ಬಂದಿರಬಹುದು ಅಥವಾ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 10 ಲಕ್ಷದಷ್ಟು ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು up to 20 lakhs of movable assets in case you have it in the foreign country, if you don't disclose, it will not be subject to penalty. ಅದೇ ತರ there are certain reductions in the TDS rates. And finally, in the best part, as you already mentioned, is there is going to be a comprehensive review of the Income Tax Act, which will go to change the Income Tax Act of 1961 to probably Income Tax Act of 2025. Having said the good news, let me also cover the bad news quickly. There are certain bad news which is not as much as the good news. In fact, good news 12 ಹೇಳಿದೆ, bad news 7 ಇದೆ. ಒಂದನೇದಾಗಿ security transaction tax in case of futures and options have got increased. Then TDS on payments of remuneration and interest of a partnership firm to a partner is being introduced for the first time. TCS on notified luxury goods have also been introduced. Then the buyback of shares nalli taxes have become tougher for companies, so buyback will not be as popular as it was before. Then in case of immobile property, if there is more than 50 lakhs transaction, there is a TDS. Earlier, let us say ಒಂದು 60 ಲಕ್ಷದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ನಾನು ಇಬ್ಬರಿಂದ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಅಣ್ಣ ತಮ್ಮಂದ್ರು 60 ಲಕ್ಷದ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ 30 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ TDS ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ there was a view, but now they said if the property purchased value is more than 50 lakhs, irrespective of the number of sellers, you have to make TDS if the property value is more than 50 lakhs. Then penalty for ETDS, ETCS returns have got increased. ಮುಂಚೆ 1 ವರ್ಷವರೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ETDS ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ ವಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕಬಲ್. ಈಗ ವಿದಿನ್ 3 months ವರೆಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ they have given time, 1 month ವರೆಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ they have given time from the due date. Within 1 month if you don't file, there will be a penalty. Then there is certain business ಅವರಿಗೆ any penalty which is paid to income tax department or any other legal department, it will not be allowed as a deductible expenditure. Penalty matra alla, ee sarti they said even settlement amounts, if you are settling outside the court, any penalty, legal penalty which is to be paid, if that is settled, that will also not be allowed. So these are the 7 bad news against the 12 good news. And finally, there is a rationalization and simplification on which we may have to talk a lot. One of the important rationalizations,
sir, we will discuss
in the field of capital gains tax.
Sir, we will discuss. We will discuss about rationalization in detail. Before that, one caller is there.
Capital gains tax, ಮತ್ತೆ rationalization ಆಗಿದೆ.
We will discuss that rationalization separately. We will discuss now. Before that, there is one caller is there. Please excuse me. Hello.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Namaskara. Who speaking?
ನಾನು ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಿಂದ.
ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬಹುದಾ?
ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಒಂದು 2-3 ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇದೆ ನಂದು. ಒಂದು ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಈಗ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ NPS ವಾತ್ಸಲ್ಯ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಒಂದು. ಸೊ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನಗೊಂದು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಎರಡನೆಯದು, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಆನೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಸೊ ನಮಗೇನ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್? ಎರಡನೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು, ನನಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈಗ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. 1 ವರ್ಷ ಇರೋ ಸ್ಕೀಮು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ನನಗನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಹಳೆ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೋ ಅವರನ್ನ ಈಗ ಪರಿಗಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ನಂದು ಒಂದು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ನನಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನಲ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ, ಚಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಅವ್ರದ್ದೇನಾದ್ರು ನನಗೆ ಸಲಹೆ ಸಿಗ್ಬೋದಾ?
ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟಾಲ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಅವರು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರ್, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ದಿಸ್ NPS ವಾತ್ಸಲ್ಯ, what it is? Like I think earlier Sukanya Samriddhi is there for girl child. From the day one, parents can deposit 1.5 lakhs, no? Like that they have done NPS Vatsalya.
See, what I have understood from the budget is that if any income of a child will be added to the parent's income.
Correct.
But if you invest anything, you can't claim the deduction. So they have brought this NPS Vatsalya. So if you start investing in the name of your minor child, the parents can claim deduction against that. So that's a good initiative, so that you can build a corpus for your child's education, marriage, and the future life, so and so forth. And the other question your guest had asked about the honest taxpayers. The only reward for the honest taxpayer is in your account of karma, which is kept by not the government but by the higher authorities. Only there you get the benefit. But here,
not accountants or chartered accountants.
Not accountants.
By Chitragupta.
Like Chitragupta. But on this earth, the dishonest taxpayers have always got benefit, especially in our Bharat Desha, because every now and then one Vivad Se Vishwas scheme will be announced, either in direct taxes or indirect taxes.
First they create more Vivad, then they want to take people to Vishwas.
And people get away with that, but that's an unfortunate thing, but that's the way our system is working at the moment.
ಈಗ ಗುರುರಾಜ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರೇ, ಈಗ ನೀವು ರ್ಯಾಷನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಆವಾಗ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ನಾವು ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ರ್ಯಾಷನಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಅವರ ಉಳಿದದ್ದು ಓಲ್ಡ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನಿಗೂ ನಾನು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ.
ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ ಸೂರ್ಯಕಾಂತ್ ಪ್ರಭು ಅವರಿಗೆ, ಓಲ್ಡ್ ರಿಜಿಮ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಅವೇ ಆಲ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ದ ನ್ಯೂ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್.
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆದವರು ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಒಂದಿನ ಮೇಲೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳುದು.
And as far as the perfect. So the changes, ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ, changes are the only constant. In fact, one of the budget provision ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ 56(2)(7)B ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏಂಜಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ವಿಷಯ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ, ಅದನ್ನ it was applicable only for monies contributed by residents. And last year in budget 2023, they introduced for non-residents also monies brought in will be taxed ಅಂತೇಳಿ 5627B ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ಬಂದ್ರು. So now ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು it will be remaining forever ಅಂತೇಳಿ. Very next year they have abolished it altogether. So the government will have to change depending on the requirement of the economy. One of the reasons for 5627B to come was because it was abating or rather helping the black money creators. Bahusha the cash circulation in the economy is not that much, and there are other avenues to catch hold of such people. So therefore the government has reasons to change, and therefore they have rightly changed. Now answering Suryakant, now let me come to rationalization and simplification. One of the important, which just madam in the budget speech she said that I am going to rationalize and simplify capital gains calculation anta helbitru. Namaga ಏನು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. Once we went into the details of the budget ಅಂದ್ರೆ budget speech ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, there are 891 pages of document which we have to see. The budget speech is only about 30-40 pages. ಅಲ್ಲದೆ ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ we have to read 891 pages. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ we have come to know that the indexation concept for long term, ಮುಂಚಿತವಾಗಿ they said long term and short term. Earlier there were 3 requirements, 12 months, 24 months, and for certain assets it was 36. Now they said all assets will be ಅದನ್ನ ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ಟು they have simplified and said for all listed securities ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಚೇಂಜ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ shares ಅಥವಾ bonds ಇರೋ anything more than 12 months it becomes the long term. And for all other assets, ಉಳಿದ ಎಲ್ಲ assets ಗೆ it could be your land and building or unlisted securities or gold, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ
all financial and non financial also
it becomes long term. So 36 months category now they have abolished altogether. The second bad news that we may think of is indexation for long term capital gains is totally abolished. ಏನಿದೆ indexation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಈಗ the right now for the financial year 24-25 they said 368 rupees is the cost inflation index. ಅದೇ ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ it was about 348 rupees. So ನಾನು ಹೋದ ವರ್ಷ ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ 100 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗೆ ಅದು 100 ಡಿವೈಡ್ ಬೈ 348 ಮಲ್ಟಿಪ್ಲೈಡ್ ಬೈ 365 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಆ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ 100 would become 120 or 115 or 105. So whatever the indexation ವರ್ಷ purchase ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ the cost will go up. ನಾನು selling price ಅದನ್ನ asset sale ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ instead of deducting the cost I used to deduct the indexed cost. That means a higher which is adjusted to cost inflation index. So that indexation has been removed altogether. Having said that, they have told that any asset purchased before 2001 you can take the market value as on 1/4/2001. So to that extent indexation is available ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಹೇಳೋದು ಫೇರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಸ್ ಆನ್ 1/4/2001 ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. This is the bad news. Good news again with that is that instead of paying 20% rate of long term capital gain, they said you will have to pay only 1.5% long term capital gain. So the long term capital gain will go up of the cost coming down. Indexed cost ತೆಗೆದ ಕೂಡಲೇ the cost will come down and therefore the capital gain value will go up. On a higher value, you will have to pay 12.5% instead of 20%. So what they have done is for long-term capital gain, for all category of assets, it will now be slashed down from 20% to 12.5%. Well, for shares, earlier it was 10%. And for security transaction tax paid shares, earlier it was 10%. For them, they will have to pay 12.5%. So shares nalli ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ it is a bad news only. Then for the equity shares, ಯಾರಾದರೂ individuals if they are selling the equity shares up to 2018 there was no need to pay income tax at all. So from 2018 we'll have to pay taxes. So what they have done now is, and therefore they said up to 1 lakh rupees you don't of capital gains arising on account of STT paid equity shares you don't have to pay tax ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಈ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ 1,25,000 ವರೆಗೆ you don't have to pay taxes. So ಇದೇ ತರ tax on short term capital gain is increased to 20% from 15% on the security transaction tax paid listed securities. So these are all the changes that have happened in capital gains, thorough rationalization. In fact, I will call it as simplification. So it has become simple. Calculation of long-term, short-term means mostly 24 months with the exception of 12 months for listed securities. And tax rate is 12.5% for long-term, and for short-term, it is slab rate, or if it is for shares, it is 20%. So this is the rationalization and simplification which has happened for capital gains. Adhe taraha, now one certain episode nalli now matadidvi search and survey. Survey, I mean search adaga. I'm just telling that this is another second, two rationalizations have happened. One is with respect to capital gains, the other one is with respect to search. Raid of tax raid adre, the assessments that will happen will be in relation to a block of us instead of individual assessment year, which used to happen from 2021. Before 2021, it was a block of asset concept. So that same thing continued. So that is another rationalization which has happened. So we have good news, we have bad news, we have rationalization and simplification under the capital gains and assessment for such cases.
Okay. I'll just add one more dimension to the rationalization of LTCG and STCG. The RBI came with a report, and even the SEBI also came with a report, that too much speculation and over investment is happening in the equity market, and there is a situation where we are in an overbought zone, and whenever any market is in an overbought zone, the correction can be very severe and very sharp in a short time.
Then
so what happens?
People may lose money.
Many people may lose money. So this rationalization is kind of a way and method to make investor go broad based in other asset base also. So like gold and silver, the customs duty has been reduced from 15% to 6%. So the gold and silver has become cheaper now. So instead of putting all your money in one basket, that is the equity market, you can now look at gold and silver also. Similarly,
but earlier, when the stock market used to rise, gold prices used to come down. When the gold market rise, stock market prices used to come down. Now both is upward trajectory. How it is possible?
No, there is no similarity between the gold market and the stock market. The gold market goes up on three parameters. One is the geopolitical situation. The more the war scenario, the more the fights happening everywhere, the more the uncertainty comes in, gold becomes a safe haven for investment. Second is gold is directly related to the dollar valuation, because gold is pegged against the dollar. So if the dollar valuation goes up, gold valuation comes down, and vice versa. The third factor is the global economic growth. It is neither connected to Indian stock market nor connected to the US stock market, but the global economic growth. Because as more and more growth happens, investors have more and more investable surplus. People have more and more.
Now, what is the fate of people, those who invested in gold bonds?
That was another factor why this was brought in, because the payout for the government would have been very high, and this payout would have been primarily because of the customs duty imposed by the government itself.
Okay.
So to level it out, because when the gold bond was issued, the customs duty on the gold was, if I am not wrong, 4 or 5%.
Okay.
And now the government reduced in the meanwhile to 15%. So to pay the benefit to the sovereign bond holders, just because the customs duty was hiked, that was being seen as unfair. So they brought it down so that the outflow to the sovereign bonds come down.
Okay. This over 70% of intraday traders made losses in FY 2023 as per the SEBI. So it is a very sorry state of affairs. That is the reason they have curbed this. They are trying to curb, whether it is curbed or not, yet to be seen now, by increasing the security transaction tax on F&O. So that is security transaction tax in future, now future has been increased from 0.625% to now 0.1%.
Let me tell.
Sorry?
Yeah, I can. I mean, since you mentioned that, I mean, somebody was telling yesterday that there is no future for futures and you don't have an option for option. I mean, that's how, I mean, it should be rightly so, because otherwise, what is it? It's only just betting. Now, having said that, they have increased the security transaction tax on. options from 0.0625% to 0.1%. Now, almost double. They've increased it by 40%. And similarly, on futures trade, they have increased it from 0.0125% to 0.02%. So that is the increase. And yes, I agree with Dr. Mehta to say that the controls are now brought in, or rather, there is a disincentive to go into the stock market in a way. But in spite of all the incentives, what we saw on the budget day, there was a big fall in the stock market, but immediately by the end of the day, it recouped. And the very next day, and a couple of days trading session, it has come back to normal. So, yes, take Kadivana Hakidno. The attraction of the stock market is something which our people will never fear.
Then, according to you, there is bad news. There is no bad news then.
No, I mean, I would say, yes, as far as this is concerned, there is a bad news, but then people get used to bad news and get used to it.
Now, see a D B Mehta. In the market, everywhere there is a talk stating that indexation done away. Even our TVM Pai also, he was shouting in that many shows I have seen, indexation should be rolled back and all. So, even our K Gururaja Acharya now told it is a bad news. But many people they say that even our revenue secretary in his interaction with industry leaders, he told that it is not a bad news, it is a good news. It is a positive change. What is your opinion about it?
See, let us understand that when a government comes out with any taxation policy, they look at the sum total effect of a particular taxation policy on that particular category of income. It is not, in any policy, some people will benefit, some people will lose. So the question is not who is benefited and who is losing. The question is what is the sum total of the taxes collected before and what will be the sum total of taxes collected after the change in the taxation policy. So I personally feel that the sum total, as the figures presented by the finance minister herself, that it's a zero sum game. So there is neither going to be any major impact in the tax collection, nor there will be any major reduction in the tax collection due to the LTCG. Now, when it's a zero sum game, if you split it further, equity market, there's an absolute increase in tax rate from LTCG 10 to 12.5 and STCG 15 to 20. So the finance ministry has already calculated the increase in the taxes which will come from the stock market. And if it's a zero sum game, means there is a benefit which is going to flow to the people who are holding other assets, including real estate. Now, if you just look at real estate, those who have bought assets in the prime part of the city in the year 2001, for them, the indexation index will be beneficial and the current regime will be not so beneficial. But those who have bought properties on the outskirts in 2001, as the outskirts was defined in 2001, not as of today.
At peanut price.
At very, very throwaway price. For them, indexation is of no use. So like you take an example in Bangalore, if in 2001, if you had bought a property Whitefield at 50 rupees a square foot, today Whitefield property is 15,000 square foot. With 50 rupees a square foot, even if you gave an indexation of 3.6, what will happen? It will become 200 rupees a square foot. Okay, so that does not benefit you at all. But this reduction in the rate will save you a huge amount of taxation. So it's a question, where you bought, at what price you bought that property. Some will get the benefit of.
For Gururaja Acharya, it is beneficial because he is in Bangalore.
So. But certainly, no, we have seen this calculation. I would like to add Dr. Mehta. Yeah, please, Dr. Mehta, go ahead.
We have one caller. If you don't mind, we'll attend and we'll discuss. Hello.
Hello. Namaste, sir.
Namaste. Who's speaking?
Umesh Pai speaking from Udupi.
Udupi. You are MGM professor.
Yeah. So, first of all, I will congratulate all the three CA Diggajas. All time my favorite chartered accountants, especially Gururaja Acharya sir and Mehta ji.
Thank you.
My simple question is, after the union budget, what is the impact on higher education? Because nowadays education is commercialized without any reason. I want to know what is the impact on higher education. That is my first question. And second question is, every time I used to ask, when do you say that a budget is a good budget? Every time budget will be there. It is mandatory, right? So when you say that a budget is a good budget, what do you mean by good budget? That is my second question. And third question is, so what will happen to this our state government policies based on your union budget? I think you have understood that.
Yeah.
So after the implementation of a union budget, what the state government has to do, whether they have to follow that or whether they can deviate from that.
Our state government, they have not participated in Niti Ayoga meeting itself, and Mamata Banerjee went away because mic was not working. So that is the state of affairs of state governments now.
That is their political issues. So my question is, what will happen to our
state should complement central, you say?
Yeah. State
Correct,
has to complement. Yes.
Okay. Now you asked one question. What are the parameters? How to judge it? Is a good budget?
So
can
every,
I ask
every
one?
year I used to ask.
Yeah. Can I pose one question? You are a professor. What are the parameters to consider one student as a good student?
Good student means he should come to the class regularly. He should attend sincerely. He should do all works, whatever they have given in time. He should score good marks. So these are all essential criteria.
And he should pose questions to the professors. That is not there.
No. He has to put some questions.
Okay.
Not to test whether the professor knows or not.
Okay. Okay. Now our CA D B Mehta, can you tell what are the parameters to judge any budget as a good budget?
See, a good budget essentially will be a boring budget, because what does a good budget do? A good budget continues rationalization of policies. A good budget continues with reforms. A good budget continues with stability of all the policies which were hitherto announced. A good budget promotes growth. But there is nothing.
No populist announcements.
No populist announcements. Okay. So the question of being good is from whose perspective?
Correct.
If it is from government's perspective, if it's from government's perspective, then they tax people more and more. They would want the growth to be more and more, and so on and so forth. But if it is from the people's perspective, and even among people, if it is from the middle class and lower middle class, they won't want more and more benefits to be passed on in terms of taxation reliefs. If it is from poor's perspective, they want more and more freebies. If it is from the industrialist perspective, they would want more and more reforms. So it's very difficult to define what's a good budget and what's not a good budget, because you cannot please everyone. Like if you understand that. But my personal definition of a good budget is a budget that promotes growth, that brings in political and economic stability. A budget that looks at fiscal consolidation, because fiscal consolidation is paramount to any economic activity.
Correct.
A budget is good if it promotes employment, it promotes social justice to a certain extent, and it controls the subsidies also. It doesn't mean that you need not give subsidy, but it should be given in such a way that subsidy is not a freebie, but it is associated with some growth activity. Say like Manrega. Manrega is kind of a subsidy only. But during the 10 years back, where the Manrega was done, was you make a pit in the land, you fill the pit, and you get the salary. That was Manrega. Assets were not created. But for the last few years, the way Manrega is implemented, now assets are created with that. And there's a complete mechanism to monitor what assets are created. So that's what a good budget would qualify for, where it is inclusive and growth oriented.
Okay. CA Gururaj.
Let me add to that.
Yeah, please.
Let me add to that. I would also say that a good budget should also be spending more towards capex. In fact, this budget continues on the same path as the first February interim budget, 11,11 lakh crores, 11.11 lakh crores. So 23% of the budget going towards capex. Point number 2 is fiscal deficit coming down under control at 4.9% as against 5.1. And number 3, maybe very qualitatively, not being a populist budget, I was only telling the moment I saw the budget, it looked like this budget was like a pre-election budget. If only Madam Sitaraman had told this, at least liberalized tax regimes for standard deduction or tax rates, if she had squeezed in 1st February, maybe there was no need for her to give that 15,000 crores to Andhra Pradesh and 26,000 crores to Bihar. I mean, although it looks like it was a populist budget to that extent, or the Kursi Bachao budget, what the Congress is talking to that extent. And as far as the macro, this is macros. As far as the micros are concerned, that is what is in it for me, the taxpayer. I have listed out all the good points which are more than the bad points. And also, one point I want to add, when I told about indexation, I said indexation is bad, but you just said only, Acharya said indexation is bad. I immediately said the good news along with that is the slash in the rate of long-term capital gains from 20% to 12.5%, which is actually a 37.5% reduction.
Yeah.
So 7.5% reduction over 20%, 7.5 divided by 20 is 37.5% reduction in the rate of taxation, which is a salutary effect. So considering all this, I would rate this budget as a very good budget. And also to say that Dr. Mehta was talking about this was revenue neutral. But when budget speech was made, Madam mentioned 37,000 crores she has forgone and 30,000 she is collecting. I thought 7,000 is totally forgone. But then she further said that out of 37,000 crores, 29,000 crores is forgone out of direct tax and 8,000 crores against indirect taxes. So on a net basis, 29,000 crores against direct taxes, maybe 30,000 crores additional from direct taxes. It is as far as direct taxes is concerned, the government is gaining by 1,000 crores. So probably on account of the buoyancy and also on account of indexation. And as rightly said by Dr. Mehta, in Bangalore, we have calculated one of our own clients' case. He sold the property on 22nd because this new taxation is applicable from 23rd of July. And the example that he gave very much suited what he bought in Whitefield Road for 5 lakhs on an indexation in 1981 was actually on 1/4/2001 becoming 10 lakh rupees and finally selling it at 21 crores. 21 crores when he sold on 22nd July. So 10 lakhs ka upar indexation if he does, he gets 36 lakhs and 80,000 rupees. 21 crores minus 36 lakh, 36,000 worse. And on that, almost let us say even if he deducts 1 crore as an indexed cost, 20 crores ka upar he has paid 20%, which is 4 crores. As against no indexation, 21 crores ka upar straight away if he pays 12.5, he will eventually save. In fact, now he is cursing. Why did he sell the property on 22nd? He should have waited for a budget. And now he is coming, Acharya, is there any way I can annul that sale transaction? I had only got to tell him one thing, sir, the marriage has already happened. Is there any way you can annul the marriage? The answer is you have to go in for a divorce only. So there is no way you can say marriage has not happened.
Okay, very nicely you tell. Now we have our Ramarao in call. Ramrai, namaskara.
Good.
ನಮಸ್ತೆ ನಾನು ರಾಮರಾವ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು I got good feedback of Sri S.S.Nayak talk on union budget in Bangalore Productivity Council meeting yesterday. Congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, what are the benefits to senior citizens in case of income tax and health insurance scheme? Next, Garibi Hatao, women empowerment, unemployment, inflation, corruption. Is there any solution in the budget? Next, according to Times of India dated 18th May 2024, Srimati Nirmala Sitaraman said that country needs to ramp up its manufacturing sector to increase its share in the global value chain and become Atmanirbhar Bharat. Sir, what is your opinion? Next, according to Times of India dated 28th May, Srimati Nirmala Sitaraman opined that government prioritization of transparency in budget practices. Our government has reshaped the budget from a mere record of expenditure into a strategic blueprint for equitable development. We make judicious, efficient use of every rupee collected from our taxpayers and give them a transparent picture of public finance. Sir, what is your comment? Namaste.
Namaste. Our Ram Rao has asked only few questions in this budget now.
Yes.
So that means because yesterday we had union budget analysis, many doubts have been, I think, cleared. But let us hear from horse mouth. So FM has told about government transparency in the budget. So what is this transparency in the budget? And whether earlier budgets were hidden? What she means?
See, financial transparency is an ongoing process. It's not that the concept is introduced for the first time. When the GST was introduced, why was GST introduced? GST was introduced so that more and more businesses come on record and more financial transactions are captured in the system. So this is an ongoing process. And when there is an expenditure side, there also transparency is very important, where along with transparency, accountability comes in, database comes in, which can be used to analyze further policies and further reforms. So transparency should be the hallmark for the functioning of any economic activity. So that's what the finance minister meant with transparency. And if you look at the direct benefit transfers, that is nothing but to enhance the transparency and to plug the leakages. So similar things can be brought in because there are so many schemes. Now the new schemes for generating more and more employment, where government wants to give up to 1.2 lakh crores for education, skilling and employment, which has been provided in this budget. Now, unless and until it is done through PPP method and transparently, where accountability and whether the targets have been achieved or not, these parameters will not be achieved. Because when you bring in PPP method of working together for the social justice, transparency becomes paramount. Otherwise, you will not be able to even measure the success or the failure of the policy.
Okay. Now, what is the benefit for senior citizens? Ram Rao's question, K Gururaja Acharya. Can you just address?
See, I think the government is going towards uniform civil code. You know what I mean by uniform civil code is there is basically no big difference between the senior citizens and the others. This was a question which was posed to me yesterday also in one of the seminars which I addressed, because the benefit of senior citizens was earlier available in form of income tax rates. That is only under the old regime, up to 2.5 lakhs for normal citizens, and for senior citizens it is up to 3 lakh exemption, and for very senior citizens more than 80 years 5 lakh rupees exemption. But under the new income tax regime, there has been no distinction between senior citizens or women, taxpayers, etc. Now, having said that, the overall tax rate itself in the new regime is such that up to 7 lakh rupees, nobody has to pay any income tax. I think although they have removed a lot of deductions, including the section 80 deductions which they were getting, or 80D, 80 TTA, 80B on the interest. Now, what they have done is, instead of taking 3 lakh rupees and then getting all those deductions, under the new regime, they said up to 7 lakh rupees, you don't have to pay any tax. In fact, for the salaried people, the standard deduction has gone up from 50,000 rupees to 75,000 rupees. That is where they said up to 7,75,000 rupees to a salaried person, he doesn't have to pay any income tax. And they have tweaked. Earlier, 3 to 6 lakh rupees, they had to pay 5%. Now, 3 to 7 lakh rupees, there is a 5% slab which they have been introduced. Then earlier, 6 to 9 lakh rupees, they had to pay 10%. Now they have increased it from 7 to 10 lakh rupees, the tax rate at 10%. So overall, up to 12 lakh rupees, the tax, earlier he had to pay 90,000 rupees tax. Now he has to pay only 80,000 rupees tax. So there has been a saving of 10,000 rupees. Apart from this, if you consider the 75,000 rupees standard deduction in 25,000, 75 minus 50, 25,000 25,000 additional deduction that they got into 30%, 7,500. So totally 17,500. That's how Madam went on to say a person is getting about 10,000 plus 7,500, 17,500 savings in this particular budget itself.
It is not 17,500, it is 18,200. Because on 17,400, 500, 4% cess will be there. If you add that, 18,200 savings.
In all my calculations, I am not taking cess and surcharge into account because while cess is common for everybody, surcharge could change between the levels of income. You are right. I can say 17,500 into 1.04, whatever the calculation you mentioned, that could be the minimum. In fact, the finance minister only did not take up that example. I think Nayak has shown a higher benefit than the finance minister herself in the budget speech.
Finance minister should compliment me for giving the proper.
Now, coming to this finance minister's, whatever goffs we call, she mentioned about the internship that 500 units over a period of 5 years should provide 1 crore internship, which means 20 lakh internship should be provided by 500 units. If you divide 20 lakhs by the 500 units, it comes to 20,000 internship per unit. Now, I don't understand whether she missed something somewhere, because to provide 20,000 internship by any company is virtually impossible.
Yeah, 20,000. I think
some figure mistake is there. Either she meant 5,000 units and by mistake it was printed as 500 units. Because 500 units is too small, corpus of companies. Because India has, several lakh companies. So possibly it was 5,000 companies she meant, or even more perhaps, maybe 50,000 companies.
Maybe 1 crore in 5 years, sir.
1 crore internship over a period of 5 years, 20 lakhs internship per annum to be provided by 500 units. So, you divide 20,000 by 500 units, it will come to roughly, I think, if I am not wrong, 4,000?
Yes, 4,000. That is also impossible.
Impossible. Per company to have 4,000 interns is impossible. So, over a period of 5 years, it is 20,000 interns.
Correct.
It's impossible.
Some calculation is there, but intentions are good.
Intentions are
good. But detailing had to come.
Yeah.
So, post-budget memorandum, these points may be discussed, including rollback of capital gain indexation. If they make rollback, your client will be benefited.
No, I don't think some of them would say that rollback from 1st of April itself. I was telling you, no. So some of them will gain by this particular no indexation at a reduced rate. So
and just to clarify my statement, when I said revenue neutral, it was only specific to this LTCG and STGC policy, covering both listed and unlisted investments. My statement was not meant for the entire changes in direct and indirect.
But in this one blow is that is CCDs, cumulative convertible debentures and bonds. Now they are taxing at normal rates, no? Earlier it was less, no? Like debt mutual fund, it was taxed. Now it is at normal rates they are charging.
I won't be able to answer. Mr. Gururaja Acharya would be.
K Gururaja Acharya, convertible, cumulative convertible debentures, that CCDs and bonds. Earlier what was the rate, now what is the rate? Is it not a blow?
The point to be noted is whether it is listed or unlisted. If it is unlisted,
it is listed.
No. If it,
bonds and CCDs are normally listed, no?
If it is listed, earlier also, no, not necessarily. We also have given in the unlisted companies also the debentures have been given. So as far as this specific question, as far as I think that it is a listed security since you are asking, we have this, in fact, bonds which are listed, earlier it was 20%, now it is 12.5% in fact.
No, they sell that normal rate. They have specifically mentioned bonds and CCDs at normal rate. They have mentioned.
No, that would be for unlisted.
No, that we will.
It won't be for listed. Listed would be 12.5%.
Okay. Now, I think
for all listed it is 12.5% only, and only if it is short term it will be slab rate.
Let us continue our discussion after some break. वीक्षकरे ब्रेक के बाद
Brilliance Diamond Jewelry Festival till 31st July. Get assured cashback of rupees 7,000 per carat and enjoy flat rupees 500 off per gram on gold in diamond jewelry. Available at all Bhima Jewelers showrooms. TNC apply.
ಸನ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸನ್ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಆಯಿಲ್ ಹೆಲ್ದಿ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಫ್ರೀ ಮತ್ತು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿದೆ ವಿಟಮಿನ್ಸ್ ಎ ಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಇ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಜೋಡಿ. 30 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಶುದ್ಧತೆಯ ಅನುಬಂಧ.
ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀಗ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಎಜೆ ಸಮೂಹ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳಿಂದ ಮಂಗಳೂರ ಜನತೆಗೆ ನೂತನ ಕೊಡುಗೆ. ಕರಾವಳಿ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಉದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೊಸ ಮೈಲಿಗಲ್ಲು. ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಹೊರವಲಯದ ಎಕ್ಕೂರಿನ ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ವಾತಾವರಣದಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಎಕರೆ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತಲೆ ಎತ್ತಿ ನಿಂತಿದೆ ಪಂಚತಾರ ಮಾದರಿಯ ಐಷಾರಾಮಿ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಸುಸಜ್ಜಿತ ಆಧುನಿಕ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯ ನೂತನ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಸ್ಯಾಹಾರಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಂಸಾಹಾರಿ ಪ್ರತ್ಯೇಕ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳು. ಮಧುವನ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ವೆಜ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್, ಲಿಗ್ರಾಂಡೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಕ್ಯೂಸಿನ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರೆಂಟ್. ಗ್ರಾಹಕರ ಅಭಿರುಚಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಫುಡ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ, ಸುಂದರವಾದ ಈಜುಕೊಳಗಳು, 3 ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ವೆಟ್ ಹಾಲ್ಗಳು, ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ರೂಮ್, 1000 ಮಂದಿ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಲು ಅವಕಾಶವಿರುವ ಓಪನ್ ಥಿಯೇಟರ್, ವಿಶಾಲವಾದ ಪಾರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಜಿಮ್ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಇತ್ಯಾದಿಗಳು ಲಭ್ಯ. ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಆತಿಥ್ಯ ನೀಡುವ ಸಕಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಏಕೈಕ ಹೋಟೆಲ್ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್. ಇಂದೇ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ ಎಜೆ ಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎಲೈಟ್ ಹೋಟೆಲ್, ಎಕ್ಕೂರು ಬಜಾರ್, 2ನೇ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ರೋಡ್, ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
Our mission is to deliver quality health care to every needy person in this region.
ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಡಿಷನ್ ನಡೆಸಿ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಸೆಲೆಬ್ರಿಟಿ ನಾನ್ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ಸ್.
ಈ ಜೋಡಿ ಪಟಾಕಿ. You are the queen of BKD.
BKD ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದ ಅದ್ಭುತನೇ ಮನರಂಜನೆಯ ಹೊಸ ಅಧ್ಯಾಯ.
ಆನ್ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸರ್ ಭಾರಿ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಬಟ್ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಡ್ಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ
ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಜ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಬರಕ್ಕೆ 10 years ಆಯ್ತು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಪ್ರೌಡ್ ಫೀಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ತಂಗಿ ಮೇಲೆ. ನಂಗೆ
ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಪಿಸೋಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಓಜನ್ ಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೇಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅನಿಸ್ತು.
ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಮಳಿಗೆ, ಕರಾವಳಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಜನತೆಯ ಪ್ರಶಂಸೆ ಗಳಿಸಿದ ಮದುವೆ ಸೀರೆಗಳ ಹೆಸರಾಂತ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಗಾರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ರವರ ನೂತನ ಮಳಿಗೆ ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್. ಬಹುಮಹಡಿಯ ವಿಶಾಲ ಕೊಠಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಇದೀಗ ತೆರೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ ಬೈಪಾಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿರ್ಮಾಣಗೊಂಡ ಅಂಚನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಆಯ್ಕೆಗೆ ಸುವರ್ಣಾವಕಾಶ. ಕಾಂಜೀವರಂ, ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಆರ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ ಸಾರಿ, ಕಾಟನ್ ಸಾರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಲೌಸ್ಗಳು. ಮದುವೆ ಸಂಭ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರಿಗೆ, ಪುರುಷರಿಗೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗುವ ಸೂಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ಟಿಂಗ್, ಶರ್ವಾಣಿ, ಬಾಬಾ ಸೂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ನವನವೀನ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ರೆಡಿಮೇಡ್ಸ್, ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಾಂಪ್ರದಾಯಿಕ ಉಡುಪುಗಳ ಲೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ವಿವಿಧ ವಿನ್ಯಾಸದ ಫುಟ್ವೇರ್ಗಳು, ಫ್ಯಾನ್ಸಿ, ಟಾಯ್ಸ್, ಗಿಫ್ಟ್ ಐಟಂಗಳು ಒಂದೇ ಸೂರಿನಡಿ. ಇಂದೇ ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಗ್ರಾಹಕರಿಗಾಗಿ ಅತಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ದರದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯ. ಅಂಚನ್ ಸಿಲ್ಕ್ಸ್, ಬೈಪಾಸ್, ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ, ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ. ದೂರವಾಣಿ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ 8941444840 ಅಥವಾ 9448984097.
ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಕುಟುಂಬಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಮೌಲ್ಯ, ವಿಶ್ವಾಸಾರ್ಹ ಸೇವೆ. ಹಲವಾರು ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಉತ್ತಮ ಆರೋಗ್ಯದ ಭರವಸೆ ನಿಮಗೂ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮವರಿಗೂ. ಮಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಕೆಎಂಸಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕಟೀಲಿನ ದುರ್ಗ ಸಂಜೀವನಿ ಮಣಿಪಾಲ್ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಶೇಷ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಹೊರರೋಗಿ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ತಜ್ಞ ವೈದ್ಯರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಮಾಲೋಚನೆಗೆ 25ರಿಂದ 50% ವರೆಗೆ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ಪ್ರಯೋಗಾಲಯ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ 20% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ರೇಡಿಯೋಲಜಿ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗಳಿಗೆ 20% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ. ಹೊರರೋಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯವಿಧಾನಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ 10% ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಔಷಧಿಗಳಿಗೆ 10% ವರೆಗೆ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಒಳರೋಗಿಗಳಾಗಿ ದಾಖಲಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರಲ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ವಾರ್ಡ್ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಸೇವಾ ಅಗತ್ಯತೆಗಳಿಗಾಗಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ನೋಂದಾಯಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಅರ್ಜಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಕಾರ್ಡ್ಗಾಗಿ ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿರಿ.
ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಎಂಎನ್ ರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಾರಥ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಶಸ್ವಿಯಾಗಿ ಕಾರ್ಯನಿರ್ವಹಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ಸತತ 19 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಪೆಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ, 18 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ನಬಾರ್ಡ್ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ಪುರಸ್ಕೃತ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಏಕೈಕ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್. ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಗಳ ಜನರ ಸಮಗ್ರ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಾಲ ಯೋಜನೆ, ಗೃಹ ಸಾಲ, ಕೃಷಿ, ಹೈನುಗಾರಿಕೆ, ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸಾಲ, ವ್ಯಾಪಾರ, ವಾಹನ ಸಾಲ, ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣಗಳಿಗೆ ಈಡಿನ ಸಾಲ ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಸಾಲ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಸುಲಭ ಹಾಗೂ ತ್ವರಿತಗತಿಯ ಸಾಲ ನೀಡಲಾಗುವುದು. ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಾಗಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ತಿರದ ನಮ್ಮ ಶಾಖೆಗಳನ್ನು ಸಂಪರ್ಕಿಸಿ. ಎಸ್ಸಿಡಿಸಿಸಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಕಚೇರಿ, ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸೌಧ, ಕೊಡಿಯಾಲ್ಬಾಯಿ, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣ ಭರವಸೆಯ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದೊಂದಿಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್.
ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ಸ್ತ್ರೀಯರ ತಿಂಗಳ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅವರು ಎದುರಿಸುವಂತಹ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ನೋವು, ಸೊಂಟ ನೋವು, ಬೆನ್ನು ನೋವು ಹಾಗೂ ಇತರೆ ನಿಶ್ಶಕ್ತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮ ಆಹಾರ ಪದ್ಧತಿಯ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆ. ಇಂದಿನ ಜೀವನ ಶೈಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವ್ಯಾರು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಆಹಾರ ಸೇವನೆಯ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಗಮನ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಪರಿಹಾರ ಜೀನಿ ವುಮೆನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್.
ಜೀನಿ ಕುಡಿಯಿರಿ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿರಿ. ಬಿಸಿನೆಸ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ರೋಹನ್ ಸಿಟಿ.
ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳ ಮೇಲಿನ ಹೂಡಿಕೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ 7.5% ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಡ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್. ತಡ ಯಾಕೆ? ಈಗಲೇ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೂಡಿಕೆಗೆ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಸಿಗುವಾಗ ತಡ ಯಾಕೆ? ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಕ್ಸೆಸ್ನ ಹೊಸ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ರೋಹನ್ ಸಿಟಿ, ವಿಜಯ್, ಮಂಗಳೂರು.
RJR Herbal Hospitals.
RJR Herbal Hospitals. 150 plus years of service, 250 plus doctors, 75 plus branches.
SS Sheet Jewelers and Diamond House, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ನಂಬಿಕೆ, ವಿಶ್ವಾಸ, ಪರಿಶುದ್ಧತೆಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು. ವಿನೂತನ, ವಿಭಿನ್ನ ಡಿಸೈನ್ನ ವಿವಿಧ ರೀತಿಯ ಡೈಮಂಡ್ಸ್, ಚಿನ್ನಾಭರಣಗಳು. 916 ಜ್ಯುವೆಲರಿ, ಡೈಮಂಡ್ ಜ್ಯುವೆಲರಿ, ಪ್ರೀಷಿಯಸ್ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ಸ್, ನವರತ್ನ ಸ್ಟೋನ್ಸ್, ಸಿಲ್ವರ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್. ಮದುವೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಇನ್ನಿತರ ಶುಭ ಸಮಾರಂಭಗಳಿಗೆ ಉತ್ಕೃಷ್ಟ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದ ಟ್ರೆಡಿಷನಲ್ ಜ್ಯುವೆಲರಿ. ಎಸ್ಎಸ್ ಶೀಟ್ 75 ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಆಭರಣ ಪ್ರಿಯರ ಮನೆ ಮಾತಾಗಿರುವ ಜ್ಯುವೆಲರಿ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಕೆಎಸ್ ರಾವ್ ರೋಡ್, ಮಂಗಳೂರು. ನಮಗೆ ಇತರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಶಾಖೆಗಳಿರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ.
ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಇದರ 277ನೇ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಗೆ ವಿರಾಮದ ನಂತರ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಇಂದಿನ ವಿಷಯ ಯೂನಿಯನ್ ಬಜೆಟ್ 2024 ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ಸ್, CA D B Mehta, economic expert, and CA K Gururaja Acharya, economic, banking and tax experts. Both of you are welcome to the show after the break. Iga lot of discussions we are doing in that see now share market soon after the announcement of the budget there was a deep correction, more than 1000 points in Sensex. again it bounced back. So what is your opinion regarding in the foreseeable future stock market, how it will react, whether it will go still further or it will stagnate or it will fall? Can you just brief about it?
Yeah.
Your opinion.
Let me first start with a statement of caution. I am not a SEBI registered advisor. Any advice I give only for academic purpose.
Your opinion, that's right.
Yeah, just
not
an
advice.
opinion. Okay. Now, what happens with the stock market is the day of the budget presentation, it reacted very sharply on the taxation policy announced by the FM related to stock market related LTCG, STCG and STT tax on F&O scheme. But the analysis of the budget, which was not immediately available to the stock market operators and investors, as the analysis started coming through, and
now also many people have not understood properly. The fine prints of the budget.
The final realization has dawned upon is very clear that it's a progressive budget. Government has shown tremendous restraint on fiscal consolidation and rather not spending money on more and more schemes which are considered as freebies, and government has shown intent for rationalization of both direct taxes and indirect taxes. Government has shown intent of generating more and more employment. Government has laid down 9 priorities for Vikshit Bharat. Government has laid down the focus areas of growth with forecast, which was explained earlier in the earlier part of the budget. The outlay for agriculture, rural development, women and employment has gone up substantially. The outlay for capital investment compared to the previous budget actual revised figures of 9.5 lakh crore is again high to 11.11 lakh crores. On top of 11.11 lakh crores, the government is giving 1.5 lakh crores interest-free 50 years loan to the states for the capex of each state's requirement.
That is 1.5 lakh crore
1.5 lakh
this
crores.
year.
Yeah, and
but how they are going to spend spread then again same Andhra, Bihar and Orissa budget?
I won't say that because these are all transparent figures. Government can be questioned about it. So I think it will be spread across the BJP ruled states and non-BJP ruled states. Okay. Now, this Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, I think there's a misnomer going on and it's more of a political game than anything else. If you look at what has been given to Bihar, highway projects of 26,000 crores, which is anyway going to benefit the whole country because highways connect not only one state within itself, but one state with all the rest of the country.
Correct.
The power project, which will be costing 21,400 crores in Bihar, Bihar is a power deficit state. It needs power. Without power, you can't have industrialization in Bihar. Even the Gaya industrial corridor, there are no takers because there's a power shortage. So you can't promote an industrial corridor with power shortages. So again, it's going to benefit the nation overall if the GDP of Bihar improves. Most of us know Bihar's GDP is just 55% of the national average GDP. So you need to take a lot of initiatives to improve the economic activity of Bihar. Coming to Andhra Pradesh, what has the government promised? 15,000 crores will be sourced through multinodal agencies for the development of Andhra Pradesh. It's not that money is going to come out of the budget.
It is not a grant.
It's not a grant.
How they are going to give then 15,000 crores?
Government will stand guarantee. The central government will stand guarantee with this international financial agencies, maybe World Bank, ADB Bank or any other bank, so that they fund the Andhra Pradesh state for the development of the capital city and the state. And whenever the international agencies come in and fund, there is a strict audit of how the money is spent. There is a strict control on whom the tenders are given, what are the tendering processes.
Is it not a injustice to Andhra Pradesh instead of favoring, according to me, because that State Reorganization Act, without capital, how they can perform? For capital, they could have given a grant.
See, for the last 10 years, this could have been done.
Now they are part of NDA, still they have not done.
So finally, any budget will have a political overplay as well. It's not for the first time it's happening. And whenever there is a coalition government, so like when Congress was in power from 2004 to 2014, it was a coalition government for 10 years. And more than the projects being given sanction through the budget, grants were given to the state. But once you give the grant, how the money is utilized is not in the control of the central government. So there can be corrupt practices.
And they will release in stages by utilization certificate, no?
All that can be manipulated. You know how these corrupt practices have happened over the last several decades. But when it is central...
CA certificate with UDIN. If we give to Gururaja Acharya for Andhra Pradesh Capital Development utilization certificate with UDIN, definitely we will verify and then only
CA certificates cannot detect fraud. CA certificate can only say this much money was spent and as per the billings and other things. But the fraud happens in the valuation of the work done. So what I was trying to get at this is, this budget is not in favor of A state or B state. It's not so much of a political budget also. But opposition parties have played it up, and made it political.
Yes, correct. Just for the sake of opposing, they have opposed. That's the reason in our business tonic. See, whenever any budget is announced, ruling parties, they welcome whatever may be the announcement with applauding. Then opposition parties will oppose whatever be the good points is involved. That's why, to make people to know what is the facts and what is the actual fact check, that is the reason we are inviting here independent professionals to judge and discuss about the union
and say to
budget.
Not only to help Andhra and Bihar, but other neighboring eastern states. In this budget they have announced something called Purvodaya, that is development of
eastern
the entire eastern
in West
states.
Bengal also it is included.
So West Bengal is included, which is
Why
TMC
your mic
rule.
was not working?
Now that's between Mamata Banerjee and Niti Aayog. Okay, West Bengal is included, Orissa is included, Jharkhand is included, so a lot of other states have been included in this.
Okay, now CA Gururaja Acharya, partnership firm, any interest, remuneration in the name of salary, commission, bonus to partners. This is also is a matter of concern now. Now TDS is to be deducted either at the time of payment or at the time of credit, whichever matures earlier. What is your opinion about it? Before that, one caller is there. I will just talk to the caller. Hello.
Hello. One question to the business tonic panel.
Please. Yaru mataadodu? Who speaking?
Parameshwar Adiga, a retired bank official.
Parameshwar Adiga. You are a retired banker. Hello.
Hello.
Please ask your question.
Yeah, my name is Parameshwar Adiga, retired bank official. My question is, to the panelist. Before that, I just want to Parameshwar Adiga.
Yeah, you can go on speaking, no problem. Hello?
Yes, sir.
If your TV is this, please mute the TV and come another side and please speak.
Yeah, that I'm muting it. Yeah, no problem.
Now you can go on speaking.
Yeah, first of all, thanks to all the entire team of Trios for giving nutritious food for the viewers' trains on a Sunday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My question is, two questions I want to pose. First of all, for these, to boost the employment, offer internships to the youth. So what exactly, can you throw some light on that? Because the students from the premier institutes compared to the students from the lower level, the not so that reputed institutions. So how we can distinguish what is the selection criteria? That's first question. Second question is, naturally Ramarao was just asking the benefit for the senior citizens. So the number of the pensioners, they constitute a substantial number in the India's population now. So the Provident Fund contributed by them, that is pooled during the time of their service, and after retirement it is given by way of pension. Why again, second time again they will be charged, taxed, as it is fixed deposits of senior citizens are taxed, that is okay. But the pension, when they are getting the pension, monthly pension, why again that is to be taxed? So particularly in the scenario of the increasing health insurance premium. So can you please clarify? Thank you.
You will get pension without any tension. That's why government want to give some tension. Mehta, please.
I'll answer his first part of the question. That was regarding the internship. Government has not laid down the nitty-gritty of the policy as of now. But what government wants is
detailed footprint.
It will be published in due course. But what they want is 1 crore internship to be generated over a period of 5 years. So if you average it out per annum, roughly around 20 lakhs per annum.
Correct.
And the scheme will be that minimum 5,000 stipend should be paid by the company who hires this intern
per month. Plus 54,000 by the government. So that per annum. So that the intern will at least earn around 10,000 on an annual per month basis. And we all know that our educational system does not impart any vocational skills or any practical experience, and most of the students who come out of these colleges are unemployable, and that's why there's a very high rate of unemployment with the educated youth. To address this problem, it's a global system which is in practice, where those who pass out of the college, or even when they are in the final year of their college, the companies give them internship based on their interest and the field in which they are studying, and their caliber. And accordingly, some internships are free globally, some internship a little stipend is also paid. Whereas here government has very specifically specified that 5,000 rupees per month should be paid by the companies. So this will make this youth after the internship employable. They are employable.
Their skill levels will
if the same employer, if they feel that they are very efficient, they can employ their own. Otherwise, with that exposure and experience, they can. Instead of giving this nirudyoga bhatte, giving unemployment allowance,
this is the better way of
internship, so that they will be getting exposure and experience as well as money. Correct, no?
Yeah, and the pension question, I think Mr. Gururaj can...
we will discuss about it. Before that, one more caller. Hello.
Hello. ಹಾಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದದ್ದು ಪಂಚಾಮೃತ. ಈಗ ಮೋದಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿ ಭಾಗ್ಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಈ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು ಕೃಷಿ ಆದಾಯ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವ ಮತ್ತು ಯುವಕರ ಕೌಶಲ್ಯ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸುವ ರಚನಾತ್ಮಕವಾದ ಕ್ರಮ ಕೈಗೊಂಡದ್ದು ಬಾರಿ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹೇಳುದು ಆದಾಯ ಅದು ಮಿತಿದಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು 5 ಲಕ್ಷವರೆಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. 5 ಲಕ್ಷದವರೆಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಗೆ ಹೋಗುದು, GST, SGST, CGST ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಜನರಿಗೆ ಉಳಿತಾಯ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗೋದು. ಅವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ರೊಟೇಷನ್ ಪರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಕೂಡ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುದು ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಇನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲೂ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅದು ಬಾರಿ ಒಂದು 2-3 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾರಿ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರಿಸಲ್ಟ್ ತರ್ತದೆ, ಅದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಬಾಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಯಥ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ 5 ಲಕ್ಷದಿಂದ 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ 10 ಲಕ್ಷದಿಂದ 20 ಲಕ್ಷದವರೆಗೆ ಅದು ಮುದ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಈಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನವರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರ ಇಲ್ವಾ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳು ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
ಈಗ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನವರೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ,
ಡೌಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡ್ತದೆ.
ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿನವರೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರು ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಇಲ್ವಾ
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ವಿದೌಟ್ ಎನಿ ಇದು ಎಂತದು ಕೊಲೆಟರಲ್ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಅದೊಂದು ಮಾಡುವಂತದ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಅಪ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಏಂಜಲ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ತೆಗೆದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಯ್ತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ರಕ್ಷಣೆಗೆ ಒಂದು 12% ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡದ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಯ್ತು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೆಗೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈಲ್ವೆಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟದ್ದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದಿದೆ. ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಲಸ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸನೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲೂ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಈಶಾನ್ಯ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸ ಒಳ್ಳೇದೇ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಾನು ಹೇಳುದಾದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಿತ್ತು. ಇವರು ಎಂಪಿಗಳು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಲ್ಲ MLA ಗಳು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ ಏನಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಕೈಗಾರಿಕಾ ಕಾರಿಡಾರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ವಾ, ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದನ್ನು ಮಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ತರಬಹುದಿತ್ತು.
ಇವರು ಮೀಟಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಹೋಗದಿದ್ರೆ ಕೊಡುದು ಯಾವಾಗ? ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ವಿಮಾನಯಾನ ಇದೆ, ಜಲ ಸಾರಿಗೆ ಇದೆ, ರಸ್ತೆ ಸಾರಿಗೆ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಎಂತದು ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇದ್ದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಾರಿ ಬೇಜಾರು ಸಂಗತಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಈಗ ಬೀಚ್ ಕಾರಿಡಾರ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಇದು ಕೇಂದ್ರಗಳು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಕೇಂದ್ರಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಪ್ರವಾಸೋದ್ಯಮ ಇಲಾಖೆಯನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ರೈಲ್ವೆಗೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬರೋದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರವಾಸೋದ್ಯಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುದು. ದೇಶಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ GDP ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡುದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಒಂದು ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸ್ತಿತ್ತು ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಕೂಡ.
ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರೇ
ಗಮನ ಸೆಳೆಯಬಹುದಿತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ MPಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರೇ ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ.
ಸೂರ್ಯಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಸೂರ್ಯಪ್ರಕಾಶ್ ಬಂಟ್ವಾಳ. ಓಕೆ, ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮ. ನೀವು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಿದಿರಿ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ, ರಚನಾತ್ಮಕವಾದ ಸಲಹೆ ಮತ್ತು ಉತ್ತಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಆದಾಯ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಮಿತಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಗುರುರಾಜಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತೆ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳುದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ಆದಾಯ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಮಿತಿಯನ್ನು 2.5 ಲಕ್ಷ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು 5 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೀ, ಇಫ್ ದ ರೈಸ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್, ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಪ್ ಟು 7 lakhs ನೋಡಿ, as per the new regime, up to 7 lakhs you need not have to pay single rupee tax. ಅದು ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿಡ್ ಆದರೆ 7.75 lakhs ವರೆಗೆ, ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡರ್ಡ್ ಡಿಡಕ್ಷನ್, ಯು ನೀಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪೇ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪೆನ್ನಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ನೀವು 5 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಏರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಎಂತ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ನವರಿಗೆ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ, ದ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ಲೋವರ್ ಮಿಡ್ಲ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಹೇಗಾದರೂ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಪ್ ಟು 7.75 ವರೆಗೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇ ಬರುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ರಿಬೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಈಸ್ ದ್ಯಾರ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ ದೇ ಮೈಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಸ್ಲ್ಯಾಬ್. ಅವರ್ ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆ್ಯಡ್.
I fully agree with you. Also, they want to popularize the new scheme, and the old scheme nalli inni ಏನು ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. That is another reason that they don't want to change anything in the old scheme. ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಸಲಹೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ, 133 ಪೇಜ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಸಲಹೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಚಾರ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ has given to the government. 80D ನ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿ, so many suggestions we have given. They don't want to touch that particular old scheme at all. So much so that they want to really remove old scheme altogether. Let us be ready for that in the next year on. Mostly in the next year itself they may remove once the new income tax.
They will not remove. It will automatically die. Natural death.
Correct. ಈಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು about 60-70% of the people have gone in for new regime. Only the 30% is still pending. So they'll push them to, with all these benefits given, they'll push them to new regime.
Okay.
So I'll just add one thing, because there's a lot of misunderstanding with the taxpayers, within the first 15 lakhs income bracket.
Correct.
They feel that they are not getting enough exemptions. They feel that they are taxed heavily. India being still a developing nation, and hardly just 2 or 3% of Indians paying taxes. There's a need for
only 8.5 crore ITRs are filed individual.
Out of it, taxes paid are only some 2.5 crores.
Correct.
Only 2% people are paying taxes.
Remaining are taking refund.
Yeah, they are all taking refunds. Okay. Now, there's a necessity for the government to raise resources, revenue resources, because ours is a developing country. Now, if you compare India vis-a-vis say US, UK and China, people earning below 15 lakhs stands favorably in terms of taxation in India than USA or UK or China. In USA, there is a minimum minimum income of some $10 or $11 per hour. If you earn little more than the minimum wages, your first slab is 10%. In UK, again there is a minimum wages of £8 per hour. If you earn anything more than the minimum wages, your first slab is 20%. You don't have 5, 10, 15, nothing is there. Straight away 20%. In China, if you are earning up to 3,000 yuan per month, per annum, sorry, 3,000 yuan per annum, your rate is 3%. So every individual who earns anything has to pay 3% tax. Between 3,000 yuan to 12,000 yuan, 12,000 yuan is nothing but 10 lakhs. Your tax rate is 10%. So even Indian taxation system for people earning below 15 lakhs is very favorable compared to even China. And if India needs to develop, we need to increase our tax base. If we don't increase our tax base, how is the country going to raise funds to do all this capital outlay and other things?
India is the luckiest person. Up to 7.75 lakhs if they are salaried, no even single rupee tax.
No single rupee
Other
tax.
than that, up to 7 lakhs, no.
And in a family, if there are two people earning, husband and wife both, you imagine up to 15 lakhs you are earning and you pay hardly any income tax. If you are a business family, you have little more flexibility of taking deductions on various expenses. Even if you earn up to 8, 9 lakhs, 10 lakhs, you pay no tax. So this regime is very, very tax liberal regime for people who are earning below 10 to 15
That way
lakhs.
India is very,
very
tax
liberal.
haven country for lower middle class people.
Yes.
Correct, no?
Yes.
Okay. And tax hell country for higher income
because
people.
those who are earning about 2 crores individually,
surcharge
with
new regime maximum 25%.
25% is surcharge.
Yeah.
4% education cess.
Correct.
So your
So maximum 39%.
39% is a maximum tax liability.
ಓಕೆ, ಈಗ ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದರು ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರೇ, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. ಈಗ ಮುದ್ರಾ ಲೋನ್ 10 ಲಕ್ಷದಿಂದ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರ ಹೀಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟೈಮ್ ಪಾಸಿಗೆ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತು ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರಿಟಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಮತ್ತು 10 ಲಕ್ಷದಿಂದ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅದು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಥವಾ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಾ ಹೇಗೆ? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್?
See, at the board level also, we monitor the advances that has to be given to the priority sector lending. Priority sector lending nalli agriculture, weaker section, education, idu ಮೂರು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಸಪೋಸ್ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸೇ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಬೀನ್ ಗಿವನ್ 8%, 18% ಫಾರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್, ಆ ತರ ನಮಗೆ ಟೋಟಲಿ 40% ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಗಿವ್ ಪ್ರಿಯಾರಿಟಿ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಲೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪಿನಲೈಸ್ಡ್. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕೀಪ್ ದಟ್ ಮಚ್ ಮನಿ ಇನ್ RIDF ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಫರ್ ಬೈ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅ ಲೆಸರ್ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್. So therefore at the board level also it gets monitored. At the branch levels some of them may be having an issue, but if there is any such thing you should complain to the head office. We will definitely take up if it is a genuine case. In fact, yes, rightly in this budget 10 lakhs in the 20 lakhs ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮುದ್ರಾ loan, which is a very welcome.
ಅದು ಸೀದಾ 20 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೊಡುದಿಲ್ಲ. Those who are already taken loan under Tarun scheme up to 10 lakhs and with the satisfactory repayment, for them it is upscaling. Correct, not 20 lakhs.
Absolutely.
And ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಜಮೀನು ಬೇಡ, ಜಾಮೀನು ಬೇಡ. ಮುದ್ರಾ ಲೋನಿಗೆ ಜಮೀನು ಕೂಡ ಬೇಡ, ಜಾಮೀನು ಕೂಡ ಬೇಡ. ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಡ್. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗ್ಯಾರಂಟಿಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈವನ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ ಆನ್ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಾನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ credit guarantee fees also as low as 0.35%. Correct, no?
But the most satisfying thing about Mudra scheme is, even today NPA is only 3.5%.
Acha?
So, with the, what happens is, with the lower segment of people who are engaged in, personal trades, they know that without this money, if they don't get this money tomorrow, they can't buy goods tomorrow and sell tomorrow.
Correct.
So, they are more honest in paying, and they need that if today they do well, tomorrow they will need little more money. So, today's records, if they don't pay today, it's like, not getting further loans for tomorrow's business. So, honesty level is very high. Fraud levels are very low there.
Oh, only 3.5%.
Only 3.5% is the NPA.
So, poor people are more sincere then.
More sincere.
So, banks should consider giving...
And 70% of Mudra loans are given to women. And women are honest, payers of loan.
Correct. Not like Stand Up India.
Yeah.
That is 51% women, 49% men. Then men will dominate women. Name is Stand Up India. That is not the case. Correct, no?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Now,
ನೀವು ಆವಾಗಲೇ ಒಂದು TDS ವಿಷಯ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ
ಹೌದು, TDS, yes. Rationalization of TDS.
That's a very important change which has been happening for the first time. And therefore, this particular TDS on partnership firm on remuneration and interest to partners will be first of all applicable from 1st of April 2025. ಈ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೂ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕಬಲ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. 1st April 2025 ಇಂದ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ anyway we are paying up to 12% interest can be given in the income tax in the partnership deed nalle provision ಮಾಡಿರಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪಕ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ we can give up to 12% interest per annum on the capital balance, and ಆ interest ಇಷ್ಟುವರೆಗೆ it was not getting captured. I think we were discussing that particular ಯಾವ್ದೇ TDS ಅದೇ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, TDS ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದನೇದಾಗಿ the other person is paying, you are not paying. So the firm is paying in this context, or whenever there is a professional fee which is paid by my client, he is making on my behalf. So he doesn't have any pains. ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮ್ಯಾಂಡೇಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಎರಡನೇದಾಗಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು 0.1% TDS ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಏನ 0.1% ಏನು ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಹತ್ವ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ entire transaction ಆಗಿರೋದು it will be visible. That is how it comes under the AIS 30 AIS or 26 AIS. So ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ, ಒಂದು ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಬಾಲ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಆ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಈಗ ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ಬಾಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಬಾಲದಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಕೂದಲು ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ನಮಗೆ ಇಡೀ ಮನುಷ್ಯನೇ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋ ಲೆಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆ 0.1% ಈಗ TDS on partners remuneration and interest of more than 20,000 rupees, you will have to pay 10% TDS. While it could have a cash flow problem between the firm and the partner, I would say I am very happy if my firm is paying. I don't have to really pay afterwards. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು. ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನಾನು TDS ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ನಾನು ಕಟ್ಟಲೇಬೇಕು ಎನಿವೆ. ಬಹುಶಃ ಆವಾಗ ನಾನು ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕು. ಆ ಚೆಕ್ ನಾನು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಬರೆಯೋ ಚೆಕ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ, ತುಂಬಾ ಪೇನ್ ಇಂದ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಪೇಯಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದ ಪೇನ್. ವೇರ್ TDS ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಖುಷಿಯಿಂದ ಕಟ್ತೇನೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಂದಲ್ಲ ದುಡ್ಡು, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರದ್ದು ದುಡ್ಡನ್ನ ನಾನು ಮುರ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನು ಕಟ್ಟಿರೋಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ there are two advantages. One is it is paid out, it is paid as and when the transaction happens. Number two, it is paid without any discount. And number three, based on the TDS, immediately the government will know that there is a transaction of that amount which has happened, and it gets reflected in your 26 AS or AS, based on which you are forced to declare it in the income tax return. ಇದೇ ತರ not only this, TDS have also been reduced. In fact, now commission payments ಕೊಡುವಾಗ businesses have to so far make TDS at the rate of 5%. ಈ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ from 1st October, ನಾನು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈಸಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು, ಗಾಂಧಿ ಜಯಂತಿಯಿಂದ, ಗಾಂಧಿ ಜಯಂತಿ 22nd October ಒಂದಿನ ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ you will have to make instead of 5% 2% TDS. 2% TDS. ಅದೇ ತರ
ಗಾಂಧಿ ಜಯಂತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಜಯಂತಿ ಕೂಡ ಉಂಟಲ್ಲ.
ಖಂಡಿತ ಐ ನೋ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಜಯಂತಿನೇ ಹೇಳಿ, ಬಟ್ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಜಯಂತಿ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಈಸಿ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಿ ಜಯಂತಿ ಯಾವತ್ತು ಅಂತ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೇಟ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. So I'm just saying, you are agree. I know you want to popularize Shastri Jayanti also, but the point I'm saying is TDS has to be paid even by a person who is paying rental of more than 50,000 rupees per month. He may be a salaried person or not having business income. Antavaru kuda more than 50,000 rupees idre, they have to make TDS. Only the advantages they have to do only in the month of March. 6 ಲಕ್ಷ ಅಥವಾ ಎಷ್ಟಾದ್ರೂ 50,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ರೆಂಟ್ ಕಟ್ಟಿದ್ರೆ ಅಥವಾ 50 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ 194M ಅಲ್ಲಿ 50 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಸೇ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮನೆ ಕಟ್ಸ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ, 50 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ, ಅವನು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಆದ್ರೂ he has to make 5% TDS. ಇದು 3 ಕೇಸಸ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಮ್ 1st of October ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟು 2%. ಅದೇ ತರ ಇ ಕಾಮರ್ಸ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್, ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಡ್ವಾಂಟೇಜ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಬನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಪ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸ್ವಿಗ್ಗಿ ಅವ್ರದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ಸ್ಗೆ the e-commerce operator had to pay to the participant, make a TDS of 1%. ಅದನ್ನ 0.1% ಈ ಬಜೆಟ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Okay,
these are the changes in the TDS.
Okay, ಈಗ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಾಲರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಟೆಂಡ್. ಹಲೋ ಹೂ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್?
ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಳಕಳಿಯ ವಿನಂತಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯವರಿಗೆ ನೀತಿ ಆಯೋಗದ ಸಭೆಗೆ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಹೇಳುದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು, ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ಜೊತೆ ಆವಾಗವಾಗ ಅನಗತ್ಯ ಸಂಘರ್ಷಗಳನ್ನು ತಪ್ಪಿಸುವುದು ಒಳ್ಳೇದು. ಇದರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುವಂತ ಸಂಭವ ಇದೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಿದ್ರೆ
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು
ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೈಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೋಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. Okay, sir, now the question is this one, subsidy rationalization. People were under the impression that when the outlay is not increased or outlay is decreased, they think that subsidy has been reduced. But when I saw the interview with the particular secretaries of Central, they told that it is not because of reduction, the same entitlement they are getting, but because of the fertilizer rates have come down and direct benefit transfer and other measures, the subsidy, that percentage of subsidies has come down. What is your say in this?
See, the percentage of subsidy has come down by 1% compared to the previous year, and by amount it has come by 100,000, that is 1 lakh crore rupees. The amount has also come down. So primarily the subsidy reduction has happened in the fertilizer subsidy, and all other subsidies remain the same. There is no change, there is no reduction in that. And if you know the food subsidy, government had taken a conscious decision last year to reduce from 10 kgs of those grains to 5 kgs. So there's some reduction in the food subsidy. But government has launched many more schemes which have not been categorized as subsidy. Say like this employment benefit schemes, where government is going to contribute 15,000 salary, or contribute the
54,000
per annum for interns, or EPFO contribution of both the employers and employees 3,000, and new job creation again there's some contribution. So these are all categorized not as subsidy, but in the categorization of education, skilling and employment, but it's nothing but subsidy. So that way if you add those figures, subsidy would be much higher. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, it is nothing but a subsidy. Government is building free houses and giving. It's not categorized as subsidy. It is categorized into the Awas Yojana. So that way even today the subsidy component is not 5% of the total revenue, total expenditure. According to me, it is more than 12% of the total.
Which has not nomenclature is not subsidy, but in the form of subsidy.
It's in the form of subsidy only.
Sir, Gururaja Acharya, ನಾಡ್ದು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಈ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಶಿಪ್, ಸಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಅರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ನಾವು 400 crore ವಿದಿನ್ 3 months you have done profit. This year your profit will, if the same pace continues, more than 1,000 crore definitely. More than 1,000 crore ಅಂದರೆ ಸಾರಿ
400 into 4 ಅಂತ.
ಸೊ ಓಕೆ 1,500 crore ಇಡಿರಿ. 1,500 crore ಆದರೆ CSR ಎಷ್ಟಾಯಿತು ನಿಮ್ಮದು 2% ಅಂದರೆ 30 crore ಆಯಿತು. ನೀವೇನು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ 900 ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಚಲ್ಲಿ 900 ಜನ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಸನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇನ್ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ. ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಅನೌನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ so that Karnataka Bank should come in all the headlines and FM, PM, every should congratulate you. Or tomorrow itself you can take emergency meeting in web and announce tomorrow itself by consultation with the chairman and MDs. This will be excellent move. You will be the first to declare. Tomorrow itself you can declare 900 interns in 900 branches with this CSR and government support. What is your opinion?
So only one problem is that they have said 10% of the total CSR can be towards this particular training.
Correct.
So
3 crores.
in the example,
3 crores now.
In the example 30 crores, 3 crores only we can spend towards
5,000 per.
Maybe we'll take your suggestion and see what is the right thing to do. Definitely, it's a good suggestion.
Remaining you can pay. Bank can pay. No, they will do the work. Right. You can send them for opening bank accounts, FDs, marketing of your this. You can use, you can pay more also to them.
500 interns can be taken for annual cost of 3 crores.
Correct. How is the idea? 500 interns can be taken now. 400 you can bear. Absolutely, no extra. Is it not a good suggestion?
I'm not talking for Karnataka Bank. I'm just talking. They have told about 500 top companies. Karnataka Bank is in the top 1,000 companies.
That's okay.
I mean, that's the
but I think if you do, they will not object.
We should not do, but definitely we will study the pros and cons. We'll have to study the pros and cons before getting into it, because allowing a person to come inside the bank is another outsourcing issue.
Only
and so many other.
marketing.
But yes, this is a permitted mode. It is a permitted thing which we will consider. We have been considering it also.
Earlier we
Not
had
that
now
key,
student training.
Otherwise also we have been promoting internships.
Earlier student training program was there in Canara Bank and all. I know that.
Now also we have approached. All these days we were approaching skill development centers to give us interns. Now we will definitely look into this to get it.
What is your any deductions? See, new regime, old regime. Old regime, it is a total deductions are there. But in new regime, what are all the deductions allowed? Because many people are under the confusion.
So what is allowed is the standard deduction, as we have been talking about. Then loss on self-occupied property up to 2 lakh rupees. Then deduction under section 80D, deduction under section 80 to the extent of new pension scheme, 80 CCD2, new pension scheme. Then also if you are a businessman under the new scheme, you are also entitled for 80 JJAA, 80 JJAA. So is to bitre, you cannot claim any other deduction. These are the only permissible deductions which are possible. Let me repeat. Standard deduction, and if you are getting family pension, you have a standard deduction even for family pension.
It has been enhanced from 15,000 to 25,000. Yes.
25,000 taxed under income from other sources.
Correct.
Then this 80 CCD2 pension, it could be either under the new pension scheme or the Atal Pension Yojana, and then 80 JJAA, and income from loss from self-occupied property to the extent of 2 lakh rupees maximum.
80 CCD, how much maximum they can claim deduction?
50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees.
Okay, there is no increase. Now what is this Vatsalya? Vatsalya scheme, any additions are there?
Yeah, investment in a child's name up to 25,000 can be claimed.
In addition to that or
in addition? In addition.
In addition, under Vatsalya. NPS Vatsalya additional 25,000 can be claimed, it seems.
I will have to check that. I will have to. I don't. I have to check up, and that's all I can stop there.
Okay. Now for urban development, lot of thrust has been given in this budget. Can you just brief, because it's the time to wind up. Already extended time is getting over. Urban development.
See, if you even recall the last full budget, the government had started talking about the urban development, the stress that is in the urban areas with regards to the urban infra, urban water shortages, urban solid waste management, and shortage of housing for the urban poor, and so on and so forth. This budget has come with a concrete proposal for urban development in one of those 9 schemes which they have brought in in Vikshit Bharat, 9 priorities. Now the first is 1 crore houses at the cost of 10 lakh crore rupees. That is, the period is not spelled out, whether it is for 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, but possibly it is for 5 years.
5 years. Within 1 year it's not.
Yeah, it's not possible. So that's the first. Up to now the thrust was on the rural housing. This is the first time when an outlay has been given for the urban housing for urban poor. Then the second thing is, government already has certain schemes where if the state government rationalizes stamp duty and provides some discount for the women owners of properties. Many of the states have still not implemented. Like many states, stamp duty is even today 7% and 9%. So it's a reminder in this budget to those states that please rationalize the stamp duties.
Who will listen to the center?
No, because certain benefits and grants are linked to this reform.
Okay.
So government will stop possibly providing those grants and aids to those states if they don't fall in line.
Okay.
Because the idea is what? Idea is to bring down the cost of buying a property and to promote women owners of property. So that's the particular idea about it. Then they have identified 100 cities with above 30 lakh population, where two schemes have been launched. One is how to augment the water supply, how to ensure sewage treatment is done properly and efficiently, and solid waste management systems, where government has not spelled out amount that it will give, but it is spelled out that these are the focused areas. Maybe the amounts may come in the perhaps next budget. Okay. And then they want to, they have come out with the concept of transit oriented development for this 14 cities with large populations, where greenfield development will be done, which is a new city, where you work in the same place, you have education facility, health facility. It's like a development of a new city. Again, no budget has been, no amount has been given in this budget, but it's a good concept where new cities can be developed. So if you look at the concept of new cities, apart from Navi Mumbai and this Noida Gurgaon region of Delhi, these are the two new cities which were formed to support the existing large cities.
Correct.
It has not happened after that.
Correct.
So this is a revival of that,
okay,
where the satellite cities can be developed, which becomes part of the main city.
Okay.
Then small concepts like street food hubs and weekly hearts and those things have been brought into this.
That is a very
So that's a very good thing to promote local food, local culture and stuff like that. So these are the few things which have been promoted under the urban development.
Okay. Now it is time to wind up. Before that, I request K Gururaja Acharya your sum up of this budget.
Yeah, I think this is a very good budget. This is a very good budget, and like Nirmala Sitharaman madam mentioned, that the theme of this budget is employment. And employment, EMPLOYMENT, they summed up saying that E for employment, M for MSME, P for productivity, L for land, O for opportunities, Y for youth, M for middle class, E for energy security, N for new generation reforms, and T for technology. I think they have covered every aspect and kept the taxpayer also in a way happy. So there are more good news than the bad news. So therefore, I would commend and salute the budget which has been proposed by Nirmala Sitharaman.
What is the marks? What is your marks in this budget? Or this budget, how many marks you will give? How much?
See, I mean, left to myself, if the income tax is abolished, we will give 100 out of 100. So, it has not been abolished in a way. I am just saying that then, therefore, I would rate it on a scale of 10. I would definitely say it is 9 out of 10.
Oh, excellent. 9 out of 10 is 90%. What about your sum up in this budget and marks?
See, I fully endorse to what Mr. Gururaja Acharya has just mentioned. But apart from that, the highlight of this budget is fiscal prudence. Fiscal deficit has been brought down to 4.9.
Because of RBI dividend?
See, RBI
2.1 lakh crore.
2.1 lakh crore, everything is not used for the fiscal.
Instead of 5.1, it has reduced to 4.9.
Yeah, so that's one aspect. But if you look at even the, overall debt to GDP ratio, it has come down substantially.
83%.
Yeah, and even if you look at the interest payment from the total revenue expenditure basket, it has come down from 20% to 19%. So those are the important highlights of the fiscal prudence. Coming to given
next year, the target is 4.5%.
4.5%.
Subsequently,
yeah, and giving marks to the budget. It's not the right way of judging a budget, but still I will make an attempt to give. I will give marks in two parts. One is the budget to continue with the growth policies and employment orientation and social justice
continuity of policies.
Of policies, I would give 8 marks out of 10. But when it comes to bold reforms, this budget does not come very well in carrying out new reforms. There's a mention of new generation reforms in the 9 priorities listed in Vikshit Bharat, but nothing has been announced in this budget. Hopefully in the next budget, many more bold reforms will come through, like direct tax code, GST and various other things. So in that aspect, I am constrained to give only 5 marks out of 10 marks in the new generation reform.
It is CA valuation, no?
Yeah.
Pass. Okay. ನಾವು ವೀಕ್ಷಕರೇ ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ CA D B Mehta ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ CA K Gururaja Acharya ನಮ್ಮ ಕಳೆದ 2 ಗಂಟೆಯಿಂದ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಯಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ takeaways for our viewers. Thank you very much for disseminating knowledge on Union Budget 2024. CA D B Mehta, economic expert, and CA K Gururaja Acharya, economic, banking and tax expert, for being with us for the last 2 hours and making our time the most with your dissemination of knowledge. Thank you very much. Before I ಕ್ಲೋಸ್, ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಒಂದು ಚುಟುಕು ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ನೋಡುವ. ಈಗ ಬಜೆಟಿನ ಒಂದು ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ. ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಕಡಿತ, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಿಡಿತ, ರೈತರ ಭಾವನೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಿಡಿತ, MSMEಗಳ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿಗೆ ತುಡಿತ, ಸರಕಾರದ ಖಜಾನೆಗೆ ತೆರಿಗೆ ಆದಾಯ ಸಂಚಿತ, ನಿರ್ಮಲಾಳ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಸತತ, 9 ಆದ್ಯತೆಗಳ ವಿಕಸಿತ ಭಾರತ, ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ತೆರಿಗೆ ಲಾಭದಿಂದ ವಂಚಿತ, ಉದ್ಯೋಗ ಅವಕಾಶ ಹೆಚ್ಚಳ ಘೋಷಿತ, 7% ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಖಚಿತ, ವೇಗದ ಪ್ರಗತಿ ನಿಶ್ಚಿತ, ಇದುವೇ ಆತ್ಮನಿರ್ಭರ ಭಾರತ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಒಂದು ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಚುಟುಕು. 11.11 ಲಕ್ಷ ಕೋಟಿಯ ಕೆಪೆಕ್ಸ್ ಖ್ಯಾತಿ, ಪ್ರಪಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತಿ ವೇಗದ ಗತಿ, ನೈಸರ್ಗಿಕ ಕೃಷಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತೇಜಿಸುವ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿ, ಕೃಷಿಕರಿಗೆ ಆಧುನಿಕತೆಯ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶದ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿ, 85 ನಿಮಿಷಗಳಲ್ಲೇ ಭಾಷಣ ಪೂರ್ತಿ, ಇದು ನಮ್ಮ ಬಜೆಟ್ನ ಸಂಕ್ಷಿಪ್ತ ಪಕ್ಷಿ ನೋಟದ ರೀತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಉತ್ತಮ ಒಂದು ಬಜೆಟ್ ಮಂಡನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿತ್ತ ಸಚಿವೆ ನಿರ್ಮಲಾ ಸೀತಾರಾಮನ್ ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಎಪ್ರಿಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ. New regime to get 75,000 standard deduction, but old scheme has no new discussion. For MSMEs many concession, for education loan interest subvention ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ವೀಕ್ಷಕರಿದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆಯಾ ಫೈನಾನ್ಸ್, ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್, ಬ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಗೂ ಬಜೆಟ್ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್? ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಟಾನಿಕ್ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಈ ಸಂಚಿಕೆಯ ಮರುಪ್ರಸಾರ ಇದೇ ಬುಧವಾರ ರಾತ್ರಿ 9:30 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ ನೀವು ಮಗದೊಮ್ಮೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಡ್ಲ 24/7 ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ, ಸರ್ವೇ ಜನಾಃ ಸುಖಿನೋ ಭವಂತು, ಸಮಸ್ತ ಸನ್ಮಂಗಳಾನಿ ಭವಂತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮುಕ್ತಾಯಗೊಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಐ ಆಮ್ CA S.S.Nayak ಸೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್.
ಭೀಮಾ ಬ್ರಿಲಿಯನ್ಸ್ ವಜ್ರಾಭರಣ ಮಹೋತ್ಸವ ಜುಲೈ 31ರವರೆಗೆ. ಪ್ರತಿ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಟ್ಗೆ 7,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ಖಚಿತ ಕ್ಯಾಶ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಪಡೆಯಿರಿ ಮತ್ತು ವಜ್ರದ ಆಭರಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿನ ಚಿನ್ನದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರತಿ ಗ್ರಾಮ್ಗೆ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ 500 ರೂಪಾಯಿಯ ರಿಯಾಯಿತಿಯನ್ನು ಆನಂದಿಸಿ. ಭೀಮಾ ಜುವೆಲರ್ಸ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಶೋರೂಮ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಲಭ್ಯವಿದೆ. ಷರತ್ತುಗಳು ಅನ್ವಯ.